Hello everyone. I'm so happy to see you all again in a new episode on my channel. As you know, the video series about the story of the single mother, Lythieuca, has received a lot of attention, heartfelt blessings, and support from viewers over the past time. And today, I'll continue to accompany you as we move into a very important and emotional turning point of this story. In the previous episode, we witnessed a truth that touched countless hearts. Hoai, the man who had always quietly cared for Lythieuca, finally discovered that she was carrying his child. This revelation not only left Hoai shocked and deeply moved, but also pushed him to make a crucial decision: to put aside his work far away, settle everything, and return to Lythieuca during the time she needs his protection the most. So, when Hoai comes back, how will Lythieuca face him? She has endured so much sadness, so many silent days of struggle, raising her faith and hope all on her own. Will Hoai's return wipe away the loneliness in her heart and bring her complete happiness? Or will both of them still have to face new challenges in order to find the true path meant for their little family? And then, there is little Tony, the innocent boy who has always longed for the full love of both a father and a mother. When Hoai returns, how will Tony accept him? And how will this small family begin a brand new chapter of their journey? Let's watch today's episode together to fully feel every moment and every emotion, from tears of happiness to the warm moments of love and reunion. Don't forget to leave your comments, send your blessings to Lythieuca, Hoai, and little Tony, and stay tuned for the next episodes with many more surprises awaiting. That afternoon, after so many days of waiting, Hoai finally returned. The narrow village road, shaded by familiar bamboo groves, now seemed wider and brighter in Lythieuca's longing eyes. She sat behind him, her hands unconsciously resting on her belly. With every turn of the wheels, her heart swelled with mixed emotions, anxious, joyful, and overwhelmed that everything had happened so quickly. Hoai glanced back, his voice deep yet resolute. "I'm home now. From today on, let me take care of everything. Let's go for a checkup. I want to hear our baby's heartbeat with my own ears." Lythieuca only nodded, unable to speak. The many months of silent endurance now felt soothed at last. She let the evening breeze lift her hair, while a quiet new faith rose inside her heart. At the district hospital, the two of them sat side by side on the cold waiting chairs. The air was still, broken only by footsteps and the loudspeaker calling out names. Hoai's rough, calloused hand clasped Lythieuca's tightly. He thought he was strong, yet his hand trembled slightly. Lythieuca looked at him and gave a faint smile. "I'm so scared, Hoai. I just pray our baby is healthy." He gripped her hand harder, his eyes firm. "I'm worried too. But I believe our child will be fine. And I'll always be with you, no matter what happens." The examination room door swung open, and Lythieuca's name was called. Together they stood and walked in. For a moment, it felt like both their hearts had stopped. Then the ultrasound machine echoed with steady beeping sounds, and the room seemed to fill with light. The doctor smiled kindly, turning the screen toward them, showing the tiny figure resting inside the mother's womb. "The pregnancy is over 2 months now, with a clear, strong heartbeat. Both mother and baby are healthy. Just take care of yourselves, everything is progressing very well." At those words, all of Lythieuca's pent-up worries burst into tears. She sobbed, her trembling hand covering her belly. Standing beside her, Hoai's eyes turned red as well. He gently brushed away the tears on her cheeks, his voice hoarse. "See? Our baby is strong. From now on, I won't let you or our child suffer, not even for a single day." Under the white hospital lights, their eyes met. In Lythieuca's gaze, shimmering with tears yet radiant with joy. In Hoai's, steadfast, warm, overflowing with love. In that instant, they rediscovered the faith they had once lost. They smiled through their tears, letting happiness spread and illuminate the small room. It was the moment that opened a new chapter in their story, a chapter without loneliness, where love, faith, and hope would grow each day, just like the little life blossoming inside Hoai. That afternoon, after the hospital visit, both of them felt as though a great weight had been lifted from their hearts. Hung carried Hoai home along the familiar road, where rows of bamboo swayed in the wind. The golden rays of the setting sun stretched their shadows across the ground, wrapping them in peace and warmth. Sitting behind him, Hoai held her belly, her face still touched with emotion after hearing their baby's heartbeat. Her heart raced, but this time it wasn't out of fear, it was the sweet happiness flowing through her entire being. When they arrived at the yard, Hung carefully stopped the bike and helped her down. He looked at her intently, his eyes holding countless unspoken words. As soon as her feet touched the ground, his voice turned firm, though still full of tenderness. "You need to rest more, Hoai. From now on, I'll handle the heavy work in the garden. All you need to do is stay healthy for our baby, alright?" Hoai lifted her gaze, a soft smile curving her lips. She placed her hand over her belly, her eyes glowing with a quiet peace. She answered, gently but firmly. "I know. But I'm fine, Hung. Just sitting still and watching you work doesn't feel right. I want to do it with you, at least contribute something small to this home we're building." Hung frowned slightly, about to protest, but her determined look held him back. He knew her well. Hoai had never been the kind of woman to depend entirely on others. That strength, that resilience, those were exactly what made him love and respect her even more. He sighed, shaking his head with a smile. "Alright, but only light work. If I see you get tired, you stop right away, no arguments." Together they stepped into the garden. Rows of lush green vegetables stretched out before them, bathed in the last golden beams of daylight. Hung took up the hoe, forming neat rows of soil. Meanwhile, Hoai crouched down at a corner, trimming old leaves and pulling weeds. The scent of freshly turned earth mingled with birdsong above the bamboo, creating an atmosphere of extraordinary peace. Every now and then, Hung stopped his work to glance at her, worry in his voice as he repeated, "Don't overdo it. Don't bend too much, or you'll get tired." Hoai looked up with a playful smile. "You act as if I'm fragile. I'm really fine. And besides, working with you makes me so much happier." At that, Hung could only shake his head, though his heart grew warmer than ever. Her laughter, mixed with the evening crow of roosters, turned their simple garden into their own little paradise. As the sun dipped lower, Hung began tidying up the tools. His eyes wandered toward the old kitchen in the corner of the yard. The bricks were cracked, the tin roof bent from years of rain and sun. He stood still for a moment, then turned to her with firm resolve. "I'll rebuild this kitchen. Hoai, you deserve a cleaner, more convenient place to cook. I want every family meal to begin from a warm, tidy kitchen." Without waiting, he set to work. Carrying bricks, mixing mortar, each strike of the hammer rang steady and sure against the old walls. But the sound was more than construction, it was a declaration. From now on, he would be her unshakable support. Standing nearby, Hoai watched silently. Her heart filled with gratitude and tenderness. She didn't need fancy promises or expensive gifts. These simple actions alone made her feel truly loved and protected. Tears slipped down her cheeks as she whispered, just loud enough for him to hear. "Thank you, Hung. Because of you, life feels so worth cherishing." Hung paused, lifting his head. Sweat beaded on his forehead, but his smile was as radiant as the sunset. His voice, steady yet full of love, replied, "We'll build everything together, for you and for our child. This is only the beginning." As twilight settled, the garden glowed with gentle golden light. The sound of hoe striking soil, the rustle of leaves, and their laughter blended into a quiet symphony of everyday life. And the sight of Hung repairing the kitchen while Hoai gathered fresh vegetables stood as proof of a simple yet loving home, where happiness sprouted from the smallest of things. One fresh morning, as the sun peeked through the bamboo groves and the early breeze drifted gently along the village paths, Hung and Hoai walked together to Mother Ha's house. The familiar dirt road still glistened with dew, each step leaving faint damp marks. On Hung's shoulder hung a small sack with several bundles of freshly picked vegetables. He said they were for Mother Ha, so she could use them at home. When they arrived, the courtyard was livelier than usual. A strong, well-fed cow, raised by Mother Ha since it was a calf, was being led into the yard for the buyer to inspect. Its golden coat shone under the morning sun, and its gentle dark eyes seemed almost to understand, glancing at the old woman with quiet affection. The buyer, a man from the neighboring hamlet, held a rope in hand, asking incessant questions about the cow's weight, age, and price. Seeing Hung and Hoai arrive, Mother Ha beamed warmly, her sun-tanned face glowing with joy. "You're here. Come help me a little. Once this cow is sold, I'll feel so much lighter at heart." Without hesitation, Hung stepped forward to help lead the animal into the center of the yard. He stroked its back gently before stepping aside for the buyer's inspection. Hoai sat down on a wooden chair at the porch, fanning herself while chatting with the old woman. They exchanged small stories, about the coming harvest, about the vegetables in Hung's garden taking root, about how her health had been lately. After a while of bargaining, the buyer finally nodded in agreement. The rustle of banknotes, the scratch of a pen signing papers, marked the close of a simple yet bittersweet transaction. As the cow was led away, Mother Ha quickly wiped the corner of her eyes. There was sadness in her gaze. After all, the animal had been by her side for so many years, from when her husband was still alive, working the fields with her until dusk. Yet she smiled softly, her voice calm but relieved. "Raising it all these years, selling it now makes me sad, but with you two here, my heart feels at peace." When all was settled, the three of them sat together on the porch. The breeze slipped through the mossy tiles, carrying the scent of ripened rice from distant fields. Before them was a steaming pot of green tea and a plate of peanut candy that Mother Ha had set out. The chirping of sparrows, the scurrying of chicks in the yard, all blended into a picture of rustic, homely warmth. Hung looked at Mother Ha with eyes full of gratitude. He lifted his cup, sipped gently, then spoke, his voice deep and earnest. "Mother, I truly thank you. During the months I was away, Hoai bore so much hardship alone. If it hadn't been for you, caring, supporting, encouraging, I don't know how she could have managed." Hearing this, Mother Ha fell silent for a moment. Her eyes shimmered with tears as she looked at Hoai with deep affection. She took the young woman's thin hand into her own, then turned to Hung with a soft sigh. "Hoai is like a daughter to me. Seeing her struggle, my heart ached. Whatever I could do for her, I did, as if she were my own child. All I ask is that you both truly love each other, and raise the little one well. That's enough for me to rest easy." At those words, a wave of emotion surged within Hung. He bowed his head, his fists clenching slightly as if to hold on tightly to his vow. His voice trembled yet resolute. "If ever I must go away again, please watch over Hoai for me. It eases my heart to know she has you by her side." Mother Ha nodded slowly, her eyes glistening, her lips trembling, but her gaze steady and bright. Don't worry. Here at home, she has me. I will always keep an eye on her, always be here for both Hoai and the child. All you need is to love each other, and every storm will pass. In that moment, bathed in golden morning light, the three of them sat together, a hard-working mother, a man returned from afar, and a woman carrying new life within her. They felt like 3 generations bound under one roof. All worries and sorrows seemed to drift away with the breeze, leaving only understanding, kinship, and the tender warmth of family reflected in every glance and every smile. Leaving Mother Hoai's house, the sun had already begun to sink westward. The golden light of late afternoon spread like honey across the fields of young rice. Waves rippled across the vast expanse as the evening breeze swept through, bending the stalks as though welcoming the two home. Cicadas still sang faintly in the flame trees, blending with the rustle of bamboo at the village gate, weaving a gentle countryside symphony. Sitting behind on the motorbike, Hoai wrapped her arms lightly around Hung's waist, her long hair drifting in the wind. She felt every turn of the wheels on the familiar dirt road, her heart swelling with an indescribable anticipation. After so many months of waiting, not only had Hung returned, but soon she would witness the reunion of all 3. Suddenly, Hung turned his head, a warm smile spreading across his lips. How about we stop by the school to pick up Tony? I've missed the boy so much. Hoai nodded, her eyes sparkling. She knew Tony had been longing for this moment as much as they had. Ever since his father left, the boy had often asked, "When will Dad come home?" And today, at last, the answer had arrived. The low gates of the elementary school came into view beneath the fading flame trees, their blossoms reduced to only a few clusters clinging like tiny flames. The dismissal drums sounded, thump, thump, and the schoolyard instantly filled with footsteps and laughter. Children poured out like a flock of startled birds, their white uniforms fluttering in the golden light. Among them, Tony quickly spotted his mother, and a figure long etched in memory. His eyes lit up, and his voice rang clear in the wind. "Mom! Dad!" Unable to hold back, he let his school bag slip from his shoulder and dashed toward them, dust rising behind his little shoes. His face beamed, his eyes gleamed with innocent joy. Reaching them, he threw himself into their arms, panting with excitement. "Dad, you're back! I missed you so much." Hung froze for a heartbeat, then crouched down, opening his strong arms to hold his son close. His face softened, all fatigue and worries melting away. Stroking his boy's head, he smiled brightly, his voice thick with emotion. "I missed you too, son. You've been so brave, taking care of Mom while I was gone." Watching the scene, Hoai felt her nose sting and her eyes blur. She bent down, wrapping her arms around both father and son, as if to hold on tightly to this sacred moment. In that instant, all the hardships, the lonely days of raising her child alone, all the aching distance, seemed to vanish. Only the warmth of family remained, flooding her heart with trembling joy. On the village road bathed in evening light, the 3 walked side by side. Tony trotted happily between them, his small hands clasping both parents. His eyes sparkled as he chattered non-stop about his school day, how the teacher praised his handwriting, how his seatmates shared a cake, how he won a new game during recess. His bright laughter rang out, blending with the whisper of rice fields and the calls of birds returning to their nests, creating a melody of pure happiness. Hung listened intently, nodding along, breaking into laughter when Tony's excitement peaked. He squeezed his son's hand, pride filling his gaze. Beside them, Hoai smiled quietly, watching father and son so full of life, her heart glowing with light. The once familiar dirt road now seemed transformed into a road of happiness, where golden sunlight, innocent laughter, and love intertwined, leading them back to a complete home, to a family bound by love and unshakable faith. Late in the afternoon, after picking up Tony, the three of them returned to their little house nestled by the bamboo hedge. The evening breeze brushed gently over the tiled roof, carrying with it the scent of straw and the familiar aroma of cooking fires. Hoai went into the kitchen, carefully setting out the meal she had prepared earlier, a bowl of sweet, comforting spinach soup, a fragrant plate of braised fish, and a small dish of chili fish sauce. Everything was simple, yet deeply warm. Tony eagerly pulled up a small chair, his voice chirping. "Dad, sit here. I want to sit next to you." Hung chuckled, ruffled his son's hair, and sat down beside him. Hoai took her place across the table, her eyes brimming with quiet joy. Under the dim yellow glow of the oil lamp, the family gathered close. The clinking of bowls and chopsticks mixed with Tony's cheerful chatter about school, filling the room with life. From time to time, Hung would place food into Hoai's bowl, while she gently picked bones out of the fish for their son. These small gestures, so ordinary on the surface, carried a love beyond words. As the meal drew to a close, Hung suddenly set down his chopsticks. He turned to Hoai, his rough, calloused hand reaching for her soft one. His eyes shone with sincerity, and his voice, steady and warm, carried quiet resolve. "Hoai, I promise to love you for the rest of my life. No matter what hardships or challenges lie ahead, I'll always be here to protect you and our child." Hoai froze for a heartbeat, her eyes glistening before tears blurred her vision. A tear of happiness slipped down her cheek, yet her lips curved into a gentle smile. She nodded, squeezing his hand tightly, her voice trembling. "I believe you, Hung. As long as you're with us, our little family has nothing to fear." Tony looked at his parents, his innocent voice chiming in. "What did you promise, Mom and Dad? Is it that you'll always be with me?" Both of them burst into laughter. Hung stroked his son's head and answered firmly. "Yes, we promise we'll always be with you." Laughter echoed in the small kitchen, mingling with the evening wind outside, with the chirping of crickets in the garden. The long day came to a close in reunion, in love, in faith. In that modest home, happiness was not born from luxury, but from the presence of three souls, three hearts beating as one. That night, Hoai could finally sleep in peace, knowing that beside her were Hung and Tony, their little family, full of warmth and laughter. Night fell, and Hoai's little house seemed to sink into a rare peace. Outside the porch, the crescent moon peeked through the bamboo, while the breeze carried the fragrance of ripening rice into the home. In the kitchen, now lit with warm light, the laughter of three voices still echoed, like a simple yet heartfelt family melody. Today, Hoai was no longer alone. By her side was Hung, the man who dared to return, who dared to hold her hand through every storm. And Tony, the innocent, carefree boy, was the hope, the light that made this home complete. The simple evening meal, Hung's faithful promise, and the tears of happiness welling in Hoai's eyes, all of it became an unforgettable memory. Yet life is never made up of only peaceful days. Their journey ahead was still long, with countless challenges and surprises awaiting. Would Hung keep his promise to always protect Hoai and their child? Would Hoai find her faith again after all the pain she had endured? And Tony, the innocent little boy, how would he grow under the loving care of both his parents? The answers still lie ahead, and surely there will be many more moments for us to discover in the episodes to come. Thank you so much for following today's story. If you were moved and touched by this little family, please leave your blessings for Hung, Hoai, and Tony in the comments. Don't forget to like and share the video to spread these warm moments, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next episode. See you again in the next video, where new, emotional, and unexpected turns will continue to unfold.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người, lại là mình đây, mình tên là Quỳnh. Hôm nay mình sẽ mang đến cho mọi người một video mới. Hy vọng rằng mọi người sẽ ủng hộ cho video của mình có nhiều lượt xem hơn. Không được à? Không được, buồn quá.
Thì ngày mai đấy xài gì mà yêu xài?
Không biết, từ chiều đến giờ đã không có cái gì dùng rồi. Giờ chiều đến giờ nó xuống pin còn có mấy phần trăm, đâu dùng được gì đâu.
Ê, chiều một đi buffet đi ra ngoài mua, mày vừa lòng chưa?
Thì nãy là chạy ra rồi, xong mới nhờ chị Phương đó. Xong thấy nhờ chị Phương cho mượn một giây, xong đang đặt cái đuôi về rồi. Buồn quá.